Welcome to the Daily Life Hero podcast. This is where we explore the power of self discovery, connection, and courage. I'm your host, Rachna Khanna, and my mission is to guide you on your ultimate quest to truly know yourself and create the life and legacy you desire. Did you know that only 15% of women feel financially confident? Even though the research shows that women live longer and often outlive their partners. Money isn't about numbers, it's about power, self worth, and freedom. And I am so grateful to my guest today who is going to join me because she is a money confidence and personal empowerment coach, the founder of Valuing Our Worth and the creator of the crown and coin method. Her work is transforming how women see themselves and their finances, helping them rewrite old money stories, reclaim their confidence, and build generational wealth. Are you listening? Generational wealth. In this episode, we will talk about why money is never just money, how to dissolve old beliefs holding us back, how to create a legacy that lasts for our lifetime. If you ever felt like you're meant for more, you're going to love this conversation because I am surely going to enjoy. Personally, I know her because we have a mission. We have a mission to touch, move, and inspire. I am so grateful to my guest today because when I met her, I felt instantly connected. I felt that warmth. I felt that wave of strong power, that strength that I'm going to make it because it matters, not only for just herself, but for people around her. And I felt that wave. I felt that strength. I felt that power. And I'm so excited that she's here. Please put your hands together to welcome my beautiful guest, Antonetta. Welcome to the beautiful episode of the Daily Life Hero.
Thank you, Rachna. I'm truly honored and touched by your introduction. You are pure magic. And your podcast, and that you asked me to be on your podcast as a guest, as a daily life hero, is truly pure magic. So thank you for inviting me. I started on this journey to create a legacy for my grandchildren, and never did I believe I would be referred to as a daily life hero. Thank you for your beautiful, warm energy, to your amazing audience who become empowered each and every time they listen to one of your podcasts.
Oh,
Because our mission is just so similar. We
yes.
are here to transform lives and empower. And I wish I could do it for all genders, but my focus, because I can't be everything to everyone, is for women. So it's not to discriminate, it's just that I can't be everything for everyone. And so I'm here to empower women to rise in confidence in their self belief and around money, especially.
You
Honored.
said something that you don't want to discriminate. I don't think you are. Because when you share something with me, I go back and share with my family, which means not that I'm learning from you, I am going back home and teaching my family. So, in all honesty, there is no discrimination. You are spreading the power in such a flawless manner that I can't wait our listeners to just enjoy this conversation today. So,
I think
I'm very curious. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Beautiful. All right. I am very curious to ask these questions because you are in such an inspiring mission, which is very similar to mine, empowering 100,000 women to reclaim their power. What really inspired you to dedicate your life to this kind of a work? Tell us who you are, why you chose this.
For me, it was like I always knew, I think it's so important that we know our values. And my highest value was always my family. And so I knew from early on that I would retire from the workforce to be able to help my daughter and daughter-in-law raise their children so that they could go off to work and I could be their carer. That was so important. I didn't want my grandchildren to have to go to full-time daycare. But at the same time, I came to realize the statistics of women of my age who didn't have that choice. You know, these are women like yourself and myself, Rachna, who are the caregivers, who worked in their workforce, who gave to their communities, and yet they find themselves in their 60s homeless. Like the statistics of single women facing poverty in Australia is 1 in 3. And there's over 400,000 women who are facing homelessness. And they're living couch by couch or living in caravans or in their cars. What if life could be different for our next generation? What about if we could embrace financial literacy as a form of self-love? What if, we didn't rely on a man as our financial plan, as we've been taught to for generations, but rather we became our financial plan. And that's what started me on the mission of this journey. How could I make it different for the next generation? Because we become the ripple that becomes the wave for generations then come. And these women who find themselves facing homelessness now are women just like you and I. And it's just circumstances that, there's no shame in having no money, and there's no badge of honour or badge of glory in having real wealth. It's just that being financially secure gives you the freedom to choose how you live your life. And that's what my mission is about. Financial freedom, however you define it, and living a rich life, not defined by the number of zeros in your bank account, but how you live that rich life with those zeros.
Wow, this is so powerful. I just want to understand this little better, and especially for our listeners. This is a vision that you wanted to create because you have been through a journey. You wanted to give it to your kids, you wanted to give to your grandchildren. I'm one of them. I want to create that for my child and my grandchildren. What really ticked? What happened? When did you start believing in the process that there are so many women like myself, including myself? What really inspired you that this is what the legacy that you want to create? What happened? What shifted in your journey that I want to do this? I really want to do this.
I think like all of us, you hit rock bottom.
Hmm.
And when you hit rock bottom, you think that you are so broken. But I've come to realize that I was never broken. My true, authentic self was breaking free. And I didn't need to play small anymore. And I needed to send that message to all women. We can own our space. We can hold our space. I wanted to create an environment where women hold each other's crowns up with pride, with sisterhood, and where money conversations just become the normal. Because when we start those healthy conversations, as you said earlier, it's not only for ourselves, it's for our families, it's for our daughters, our sons, our husbands. It's for the generations that come. And becoming a grandmother, most definitely. Not only could I take a break from the workforce to look after them, but how I live my life when kindness and love is what I speak to them. And that's where this all started. Using my background in accounting and in financial education, how do I use that now to touch the lives of 100,000 women so that together we rise in self-belief and confidence around money.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This is touching my heart. And I was wondering if you're okay and if you're okay to share with our listeners that you said something very profound that in a life, when you hit a rock bottom, you start to see things differently, you start to feel things differently. And then there is a fire in you that puts you and sets you apart that this is what I want to be and this is what I want to create. And when you were envisioning this is what you want to give it to your grandkids or your child and 100,000 women, which is a big mission in itself. What were the challenges that you faced for yourself? What were a few things that were shaping you who you are today? How did you come onto the other side? What changed? What did you do in your daily life? What was that inconvenient truth about your life that you had to face?
So
What
sharing something
changed?
very personal, and I wouldn't have believed this if it hadn't happened to me.
Right.
But the moment that I hit rock bottom, and it was because my husband's family controlled money. He worked in their business, our assets were all tied. It was always controlled. And when I hit rock bottom, because of their judgments, because of their envy, I've always worked. I've been a professional. I've worked my way despite them trying to keep me small, despite their judgment, despite their criticism. There was a fire that lit always. And sometimes you can't describe what breaks you. Sometimes it's the sum of the little things that break you. But in the moment that I felt so broken and contemplated suicide, I went to call my cousin, and unknown to me, she was seeing a medium. And it's amazing how things work out. So I'm here picking up the phone to call her because she is my soul sister. And she's here, and the medium is saying to her, there's three men here, but one is Giovanni. And he is saying, you should be with your cousin. Why aren't you with your cousin? And her phone rang at exactly the same moment my dad came through to her. My dad had been passed away for 20 something years. I hadn't even dreamed of him. And yet he chose my soul sister to speak through. And so then I connected with this medium. I realized the power of, if my dad saved me in this moment, then I have a greater purpose in my life. You know, he believed in me. And, you know, when I was growing up, he couldn't be that everyday hero to me because of circumstances or what. But in my lowest moment, he came to me and he saved me. And how do I live my life now? No longer playing small, no longer. I lived a life where I just thought I had to work to make money because that was my identity. It was to please everyone. I felt like I was always constantly proving myself. And I never got to celebrate the wins. And then I saw someone and they said, could you just write down your accomplishments over your career? And when you see it in black and white, and there was a sadness that comes when you see all your achievements and know you've never acknowledged it, never shared it with anyone, never celebrated them. And in that moment, I just thought, how can I make it different for women? And that's where it started. That was a journey. And then I went to ICI, and it started as a journey of healing myself. Mm. And then once I healed myself, we then rise to a different energy. And our energy is different. And we find our North Star. And when you find your North Star, it guides you to exactly where you need to be. You know, when you listen to your heart and your soul, the universe gives you signs. I can't even tell you how many signs there were that guided me to this. So many different signs, like, you know, a medical center contacted me about advertising with them, and I'd never even put my name out there. And I said to them, I don't think your clinic is for my avatar. My avatar is women aged 25 to 45. I don't think it meets. They called me 2 days later to say, oh, we've got a women's hub in your area that has 13 female doctors. Would you like? And so the constant signs. And then I called about an office space, and the person said, oh, my office space is just becoming available in a month's time. Would you like to look at it? And my daughter at the time came with me, and we'd been asking her to leave her job for a while because we could see it was consuming her and the effects it was having on her. But she came along with me. 2 weeks later, she was offered a package. And so her office is next door to me. So together we get to come into our office, and we have different careers, but we get to be here together in this beautiful space that I've created for my women. And I can't tell you how much magic there is in the workshops, Rachna. That is that's when you know you're on your right mission. When you have a workshop, and my first workshop, I had a workbook prepared. An hour and a half later, we hadn't even touched on that. Wow. Because females sat around that table. And my daughter thought it was tacky because I had crowns everywhere, because we are queens who have a right at the head of their table. And I realized that at Speaker Success, I was talking about, we could talk about anything, and it was about talking about making chicken soup. But I realized it was more than just a grandma making chicken soup for her grandchildren. It was about, in an Italian culture, no one questions a grandma's right at the seat of the table. And so I wanted that for my women. I had my workshop set up as a boardroom table where every woman has a right to her seat at her table, where every woman is able to share her money stories in a safe, non-judgmental environment with love, compassion, and so much vulnerability. And each woman is a queen in that room. They support each other. It's pure magic. I can't. That's my why. Each and every time.
Oh, and you have touched my soul in this moment. And I'll tell you why. I had goosebumps all over my body on two separate occasions when you mentioned you were sharing how profound your journey has been, especially at a stage where there is a superficial support that may be seen that, oh, you're supported, but actually you're not supported in a setup, and that hurts you deep inside to your core. And you were going through that, still maintaining that, then I want to do things differently. I don't want to be here where people are just told, do as we tell you. You still had that independence, you still had that power within you, which people were not able to see. And if family is not able to see or witness that, it hurts to the core level. And that touched me to my soul. The time was so tough, and you wanted to do things differently, but you did not find the support. And the only thing you thought was would support you in your life was to not live. And you called your soul sister. And you had a medium where you could hear your father tell you you're meant for more. And that's where you found your purpose, that I am not settling for this. You chose not to suffer because pain is inevitable, as we say, and suffering is a choice. And in that moment, you heard that voice of every woman right now who wants to have that independence in finance. Well, we are heroes, whether we have financial freedom or not. But because we can, and if we can, we must, and if we must, then we are. And that feeling of confidence that you give, that you share, is epic because there are not many people who are able to do that. That inconvenient truth that people don't want to listen. That is difficult. You are showing that part, you're holding that not only you're demonstrating that I am doing this, you are wearing the crown and you're showing the pathway that I'm going to do it. Thank you
Right.
so much for sharing that with us, Antonetta, because women needs to hear this. Woman needs to know this, that all you have to do is say yes to you, because Antonetta is there to make sure that she makes sure you feel like a queen and you have your own crown. You create your own crown, because no matter what happens, if you get in love with yourself, you indulge in self-love, you're free anyways. You can create anything.
True. And, especially I think we see financially, we haven't been taught that financial literacy can actually be a form of financial care,
Mm.
of self love, of
Wow.
power.
Wow.
It's so much more than money. It's about freedom, it's about self belief, and it's about stepping into your power
Absolutely.
and having choices. The power of having choice and how you live your life is profound. And they say the regrets of, there's a book and it's the regrets of the living. And one of the greatest regrets, the regrets of the dying, and one of the greatest regrets of the dying is, I wish I had lived a life true to myself.
Wow.
And
Mm,
that's a profound statement. When I read that, I knew I hadn't lived a life true to myself.
mm,
But
mm.
at 60, I get to do that, and it's never too late. Women, it's just never too late. I
Yeah,
would love for you to experience it earlier, but I was talking to Rachna earlier, and, you know, menopause can be seen as magical too. It can be a pivotal turning point in our lives
absolutely.
where we find our true authentic self and celebrate us and who our journeys that we've had and who we are becoming. I don't think we truly ever become, but we are constantly becoming a true version of ourselves.
So true, Antonetta. And this is so powerful in itself, like you said, that it is such a beautiful transition period. Whichever, I strongly believe in that. You're always evolving, you're always becoming a better version of you, whether you know it or not. Because everybody wants to strike that balance and want to be there where you want to be, because we are all visionaries. We want to be the best of us because we are people who want to love, and we all are love because we come from love.
We're born from love, and the only thing we take with us when we die
Is
is
love.
the love we take with us and the love we left behind. And that's really a powerful thought. You know? How
Yeah.
do we live our life with love, with passion, and with purpose?
Absolutely. And imagine this, Antonetta, a world where people like us come together and we cause a ripple effect that, you know what, you're worth it. You're worth it because you're worth it, not because of your titles, because of your money, because of anything. You're worth it because you're worth it. And everything else becomes you because you're worth it. you know, that your outer world reflects your inner world. Have you seen a woman in relationship or woman's relationship with money mirror her relationship with herself? So what I'm really asking you is this, that when you go and meet beautiful women in your circle, from your perspective, have you seen woman's relationship with money mirror her relationship with herself? How does she treat herself with money? How does that look like in her life?
Your self belief is a mirror.
Mm,
The thoughts around money are a mirror about your own self worth. Because when we don't think we're worthy, then we don't believe we have a voice to ask for a price rise, for a pay rise, I should say. We undercharge. We're no longer conscious spending. We're spending to fill a void of emptiness. And it's only when you step into your own power that the true magic begins. When you believe you are truly worthy, when you move away from that scarcity mindset to abundance, then you are welcoming all that in. And you step into your power and you rise. And when you rise and step into your power, you know, anything is possible. You become your authentic self. So many times women come in and, like I'll ask them to, when we talk about money, where do they feel it in their body? And a lot of times it's here in your voice. Because they feel that they've never been able to speak their truth of their worthiness. That and there's shame around maybe past money failures. But what about if we just got rid of that shame and just accepted that it happened and it gave us a redirection? There should be no shame around money, because when we can talk about it, it's only when we talk about it rather than hide in shame that our stories become visible. We can empower other women because of the journey that we have been on.
That is so profound, Antonetta. And I'm very curious right now that you did touch upon that when women meet you and they are giving you a reflection, how they see themselves or their relationship with money. What are the reasons why they don't feel they're not worthy of having it? What are the failures look like? Like if you were to give me an example of one of your clients, of course, without naming them,
Yeah.
how was life before? What were few challenges that they were facing and they keep repeating their patterns that this is who they are, which in reality they're not actually.
I think it starts from reports about Gen Z. We haven't been taught to be conscious spenders. Spending sometimes is because of a void. Younger women today have buy now, pay later. They've already worn that outfit before they even get to pay for it, and they don't realize, no one's taught you about saving and investing and the consequences of accumulating credit. Once upon a time, you received money, your wage was paid in an envelope. And for generations, women have been budgeting and feeding families on the smell of an oily rag, like they say. And now it's like we don't see money. It just goes in and out in the bank accounts and whatever. We've become consumers, especially around self-worth, because our young women today are exposed to so much social media, and they find themselves not living up to the image, and then everything is controlled to or aimed at them in terms of consumerism rather than investing. But what about if we could teach our women, rather, instead of consuming, what about if we invested? And so, how can we change from consumerism to investing? And a lot of times people would say, oh, well, we never thought of those consequences when we were young.
Yeah.
You just spent, you felt like you needed the designer handbag or the holidays or whatever. But what about if you just gave up one of those designer bags and invested it for the next 35 years? And that would give you financial freedom forever. And women today are so lucky because, women of my generation, we didn't have superannuation if you were earning less than $450 a month. And then you gave up work to be a carer. You were a carer for your children, and sometimes women leave workforce and they're carers for their parents or for a sibling, whatever it may be. And no one's paying you during that time. And so there's no superannuation that's accumulating during those times. You face divorce and half your assets have gone. And in some instances, there's been bad business decisions and you find yourself with less. So what if we could change that so that young women today, the Gen Z, will have superannuation of 12% or more. What if each pay rise that they get, they just increase it? If a pay rise is 3%, what about if they just added 1.5% to their super? And it's accumulating so that when they do reach retirement age, they have choices, they have financial freedom, and they don't find themselves in homelessness. There are so many situations of young women going through divorce or older women who have made business decisions that cost them a lot financially, or women who hoped. We have so much talk around small businesses, but you just have to walk down your main streets to see that these poor businesses have closed their door. There is no shame in setting off on your dream of owning a business, and then because of economic circumstances, it fails or you have to close your doors. There is no shame in that. You tried, it was economic circumstance. Sometimes it's, circumstances beyond your control, but you were out there. You tried it, you learned. And what about if we shared those money stories and that led by examples and experiences, and we just shared those stories with everyone? That's what my room is for. We have mothers and daughters coming together, and it is profound where, mothers and daughters share their journeys, because we all want to leave a legacy behind for our children. We want a better life for our children. And so if we can share our stories, our successes and our failures, we're only human. And if we can share those stories of humanity, vulnerability, then that's the true legacy we leave behind.
Wow, that was super powerful. I love that. I was curious, and if you could share with us, I love the fact that there is so much deeper work that you're doing, especially starting from self-worth to investment, and especially for young women, how we can educate them to invest or increase their superannuation percentage. Do you find sometimes that whether it is mother and daughter coming or woman coming or young woman coming, do they come back with their stories that I don't think I can do it? What are few challenges, their daily challenges that they may tell you, which is a story? For example, if they had no saving and they are living from paycheck to paycheck or salary to salary, what changes would you recommend to our listeners if there is a young woman watching or a woman watching with a single parent or is a single parent? What is one recommendation, one small tiny change that you would tell them?
Yeah. There's multiple. If I can start off, I think that's the power of sisterhood,
Yeah.
because I've been in the room where a young woman has raised her concerns and other young women encouraged her.
Wow.
And they said, oh, well, we found ourselves in this is this. This is about empowering. It's not about me telling them what they should invest in. It's about giving them the skills where they can source that information and do it for themselves, because that's where true empowerment comes. So my workshops will always start with a values elicitation session, and that's where we go through a series of questions around money and life, and by asking a series of questions and reflecting on them, they come up with their top 7 values.
Wow.
And that's profound in itself, because when you move in a direction of your values, and for example, my value is family. And so money isn't seen as a source of stress when you are moving towards, for me, a non-negotiable is our annual family holidays. And so even though I budget with, as an accountant, I've always budget, there is always money for that family holiday because it is precious. It is where I get to live my rich life with my family.
Wow.
It is where we get to create memories that we will treasure forever. And that is a true legacy, not in the assets I leave behind, but in the experiences and the memories I leave behind. So I think finding our values is the number one thing, because if up there is financial freedom, then you won't see money as a source of scarcity, but as a source, as a tool for abundance. And so, and I don't call it budgeting because I don't want my women to feel it's restricting.
Yeah.
Refer to them as conscious spending, where you go back to the last 90 days and just create an awareness of how you spent.
Mm-hmm.
And how did you feel? Were you just spending to fill a void? Were you just spending because you were upset? Or were you spending with intention? And then you have a look at things where I wasn't spending with intention. How could I now redirect that in towards a higher interest earning account? And then later on into another asset class. So I think that's how it really starts, by defining your highest values and moving towards that direction.
Wow. This is such a solid framework. Listeners, if you're listening, there are two profound messages that Antonetta just shared with us. One is a profound framework is knowing your values. Values is a very important word, especially when it is related to your money or financial freedom is something that you're looking for. Go and find out, get a support who can sit with you and find your values. If you don't get anyone, you have the support right here, right now. Antonetta is a beautiful source right now available for you who can sit with you and make you understand what values are. I can also help you with regards to values, but when it comes to financial freedom, financial power, Antonetta is your answer. And second most profound, the most important thing, why are you spending? When you spend, what is the feeling attached to it? Is it an emotional spend or is it a thoughtful spend? And I'm loving these suggestions that Antonetta is sharing with us because this deeply resonates with me because I go for emotional shopping. If you have heard of emotional eating, I do for emotional shopping. And this is a great suggestion. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm loving our conversation and this was so beautiful. What? So figure out this was beautiful. I absolutely loved it. Now, to move on to my next question, because I was wondering if you could tell us your coin and crown method, because I'm very fascinated. I would love to know what is that method, crown and coin method. I just feel it's a beautiful concept. Can you walk us through what it is and why is it so effective?
Yeah. So the crown and coin method came about because, I want women to feel like queens. And it's what a queen symbolizes. It's stepping into your power. It's about knowing your worth, in your space, holding your space, and stepping into, it's how you revere, it's almost a reverence for yourself. That's self-love and self-embodiment. And then the coin represents how we spend, how we can save, and ultimately how we can best obtain our freedom. Because no one questions a queen. So why should we question ourselves?
I love that.
Step into your sovereignty and rule with confidence, rule with power. You are a queen, you are magical. And all the magic happens. True wealth comes from within.
Yes.
Comes from within your soul. It's all here. And if you can truly, I've been in a scarcity mentality And
Mm.
I see how it keeps you small.
Mm.
But when you can step into your abundance, the universe is generous.
Yeah.
The universe is giving. The universe knows that you are well worthy and that
Mm.
you are loved and that you are enough. You always were and you always will be.
Wow, that is so profound and absolutely once again touched my heart. It was so beautiful. Queen does not have to ask, she does it and she feels powerful when she does it. And it's all about your power within yourself that you feel it. Is it possible for you to share that what are some limiting beliefs that they would be carrying with them that they can't have an or they don't find that access in their queenness in specific in this method? What are few limiting beliefs they may have?
There are so many limiting beliefs. I'm
Mm.
not worthy.
Mm.
People will judge me if
Mm.
I'm wealthy. People will see me as boasting
Mm.
if I'm wealthy. They'll have money stories from their past. No one in my family had money. Who makes me so special? I should have known better. I made my bad financial decision, so now I'm not able to make a sound financial decision ever. Is that true? And we know none of those narratives are true. We just haven't been given a safe space or even a space where you can come and say, I don't have all the, none of us have the answers, let alone financially.
Mm.
We don't have all the answers. And that's okay. But we do. And nowadays we have so many different sources of financial literacy. There are so many amazing books. There are so many incredible podcasts. There are so many online resources. Blessed. If you go looking for it and you have the confidence in yourself, it all starts within. Have confidence in yourself that you are capable of having more and go and seek where you can get that because it's there for you.
Wow. This is phenomenal because I have been there like many women. I was told that money's not grown on trees and you're a spendthrift. And these are the kind of beliefs I have carried. Oh, I'm a spendthrift, then why should I save? I cannot save. I'm not a person who can save. I've carried these limiting beliefs. And when I stopped and I said, but that's not even true. I'm not my family. I'm not my father. He had a different set of limitations the way he was growing up. I don't have that. So for me, money does grow on tree. I can have a money plant that actually gives me money. And that limiting belief was gone. I can grow my own way of having and different sources of income I can have. And like you said, there are so many podcasts, there are so many, and like professions like you who can help and hold the hand. You're the queen. You have every asset within you. Just access it. And I love that. And I love asking this question in some other way. And maybe this is a question for our listeners. If money was no longer a worry, who would you become?
If it was no longer seen as a source of stress, but as a tool that guides you to your purpose, a tool that gives you the life you've always dreamed of, a tool that helps dreams become a reality,
Yeah.
then anything is possible.
Mm.
Anything is possible.
Absolutely.
A rich life is not defined just by the number of zeros that you have in your bank account, but what you do with those zeros and how you live your life.
Exactly. It does
And
not define.
we talked about that in one workshop, and you'll hear of people who say, you shouldn't have a cup of coffee because that's a buying a cup of coffee. We spoke about it. But if that cup of coffee is so much more than a cup of coffee,
Yeah.
if that is where you are joined, normally when you have a cup of coffee, you buy a cup of coffee, it's because you're surrounding yourself with friends.
Mm.
It's because you're just seeking that time to yourself.
Mm.
And so it's not about depriving yourself of the little things.
Yes.
It's about looking at the greater picture. And your second biggest, for women out there, your second biggest investment is your superannuation. Take notice of it.
Mm.
Your employer is contributing to that. They are contributing 12% of your wage towards your financial future. Take notice of it. Have power over it and
Mm.
have power over all your money decisions
Yeah,
because all that power lies within you.
you are right. Absolutely. And I'm loving this conversation. And thank you so much because I am taking away so many things for myself. And this one more, I was reading your profile and I came across you talk about creating generational wealth. What does that mean to you beyond the financial aspect? If you could just share with us.
And I probably didn't think about that until I found my true authentic self. I come from an Italian background where, the legacy you leave behind is your bricks and mortar. That's how you are defined as a successful person.
Mm.
But I wanted more for my family. I wanted to give them the belief in themselves. I want my grandchildren to say, Nonna not only left me this in terms of financial abundance, but she gave me the values of kindness and love, and she lived it in every moment. We knew we were loved unconditionally for who we are. They were seen, they were heard, and they were understood. And that is truly the greatest generational wealth that we do is the moments that become memories that our children and grandchildren will treasure forever. What do they say? People don't remember what you said or what you did.
Yeah.
People will always remember how you made them feel. And that's where true generational wealth begins.
If you fully believed in yourself that you're enough, you're worthy just as you are, you have an instant access to that freedom, and that freedom can look like so much more. You can be anything. Like you said, that's what we want to leave. That's in its truest sense is the generational wealth. When I'm not here, like you said, what I want people to remember me for is the values that I was able to share with them, demonstrate it to them.
You're right. Like you said, you carried your dad's trauma or stories around money. We get to rewrite those money stories for our children and their children. The power starts with us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my God, this is so beautiful. So, for a woman, especially our woman listeners who are listening and who feels disconnected from her finances or self worth, you did mention what is the step that they can start taking today. What one misconception do you want them to keep a backseat? That's one misconception that is so common that they carry with them, and you just want them to just leave it. You don't even have to think about it. What could be that one misconception?
You are worthy. Value your worth. Step into your power. Value your worth. Know that you have a seat at any table. That doesn't even come, that should not be questionable. You have a right at any table that you belong to, whether it be a kitchen or whether it be a boardroom.
Wow.
You have a right at the seat of your table. Step into your power, speak your voice. Don't hold back. There is power in your voice and it needs to be heard.
Wow. Beautiful. This is so, so powerful. I am loving it. Now, because we are about to close our conversation, and there are a few things Still left, but I'll ask only one thing from you because I think that'll really help our listeners. You have impacted so many lives through your work, valuing our worth. When you imagine the triple effect of your work, what do you hope the world will look like?
I want a world where no woman questions her right at the seat of the table. I want a world where no woman, especially here in Australia, is living in poverty, is facing homelessness at retirement, where every woman holds her crown and where every woman will hold another woman's crown when it tilts. If we could live in a world where there is no judgment, but kindness and love, how much better would our world be? There is no shame around not having money, and there is no badge of honor in having so much wealth. But remember that having money gives you the freedom to choose. So make the decisions now to empower yourself, to see financial literacy as a form of self love, as self care. Open up your superannuation statement, read it, know it, and add to it. And you will face retirement with abundance.
That is beautiful,
You
Antonetta.
can also live your life with abundance because we don't have to put it all into super. Employers doing that. What about all the other money redirecting to savings or investing? You're a
Yeah.
queen. Go for it.
Yeah, and I loved your non-negotiable that your biggest value is your family, and your non-negotiable is that you want to go ahead and have that family holiday because that means so much more. And there's so many women like myself who just, oh my God, I cannot have that family holiday because I don't have any. You can have it because the first work that you need to do, what is it that you really value? And I would strongly encourage anybody who's listening, go for this because that can change your life.
And whether it's in a caravan or whether it's an overseas holiday, it
Yeah,
doesn't matter. It's
it,
aligned with your value. So
exactly.
you can spend as little or as much as your heart desires, as what you're capable of too. And all is welcome.
So we are coming to close now, Antonetta, and I would love for our listeners to know how can they be in touch with you, where they can find you, what are the different resources that you have that you are offering right now. If there is any workshop, any webinar online or in person that you're doing, please share with our listeners so that they can be in touch
At
with
this stage, my workshops are all in person because I love the magic that room creates. So if you go to valuingourwork.com, my website, it's updated every time we begin a new workshop. At some stage, I might go to Zoom, but because of the magic that's created in the room and the sacredness of it and the sacredness of the topic and the vulnerability, I love keeping it in a small group. But at some stage, we will go to perhaps a Zoom webinar. But for now, my programs, I'm introducing them into schools because I believe if we can start with the Gen Z, because they already are fearing what will be ahead, that they will never have enough, save enough for a home. They come out of school and they've got, a university, they've got student loans. They've found themselves in the buy now, pay later, and they're accruing interest. So, yeah, hopefully I'll be coming to a school near you for those in Victoria. And who knows where my program might roll out to.
you never know. You might be all over the world and people would be calling you, Antonetta, please come and do a session for us. You never know.
100,000 women, we have to start somewhere. Or who knows? One of my granddaughters might even take over. We can only see.
Absolutely. And I wish you all the best. I have loved this conversation and I cannot wait for another episode where we talk the basics of financial freedom. What are the different steps that women can take up? What are the different values that they get to really notice and observe what really matters? Maybe some other time, some other episode, maybe a new season, or maybe just focus on the financial freedom. But I want to thank you for taking out time, for causing a ripple effect, because my mission is bigger, as you know, and your support means so much to me. This is an effect that we are causing, and people are learning from us. This is making sure that people know that if we can do it, if Antonetta can do it, they can do it. They are the heroes, and we are somebody who are their cheerleaders. We are supporting them, and we are hooting for them and for their success. And I'm hooting for your success, Antonetta.
And Rachna, the same for you because you are a true queen. You're stepping into your superpower. You are wanting to touch a million lives, and you will do that because of your magic and your honesty and your beautiful energy. To be in your presence just allows us to be vulnerable and to be truthful and to speak your truth. And I didn't even look at a note. I'm just so much in tune with your energy and serving your audience with the same passion that you do. So, to you and your audience, a big kiss.
Thank you. And thank you so much. And that's the crux of my program, The Ultimate Quest. Be you, own you, love you, because you deserve to know you. And when you know you, you are limitless, you're unstoppable. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you, Rachna.
Thank you so much. And this is for my listeners. Antonetta's story shows us that what research is telling us too. Women who feel financially confident are 3 times more likely to feel empowered in every area of their lives. But hearing her shared journey reminded me of why I felt so safe and inspired in her presence. She lives and leads from such deep self worth and compassion. I'd love you to pause and reflect on these questions. What story about money and self worth are you ready to let go of? This was one of the questions that Antonetta also shared with us. What story about money and self worth are you ready to let go of? If you believed you were truly enough, what bold step would you take right now? Right now. What legacy do you want to leave that goes beyond money? Like Antonetta said, generational wealth, values. As Oprah Winfrey beautifully said, the biggest adventure you can take is to live the life of your dreams. And when I think of Antonetta, I think of someone who is courageously living that adventure and guiding other women to do the same. If today's episode touched you in any way, please take a moment to subscribe to the Daily Life Hero podcast. Share this episode with someone who needs to hear it and leave us a review. Share your comments. What is it that you want to hear? What is it that you want us to come with questions? Ask questions. Antonetta and any other guest would be happy to help you. Whichever part, wherever you are in this world, we are happy to share. Ask us questions so that we can bring you answers. Your support helps us reach more people and create a ripple effect this world needs. Until next time, remember you deserve to know yourself, and the power within you is limitless. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Ciao.